everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Sonali. I'm going to be your host. Please note that we can't hear you as you're on mute, so if you have any questions during the presentation, please just use the chat window. We'll address any of the questions during an open Q&A session we'll have at the end. And let's go ahead and get started. Let's begin with the introduction of today's speaker. Jeff, would you like to start, please?
Hi, thank you, Sonali. So let me introduce myself. As you mentioned, so I'm Jean-François Piot. I am product manager at GSX. I'm based in Boston, despite my really strong French accent. So I hope you will be able to understand me today. I will walk you through the webinar today, explaining you and showing you the benefits of our new offering for SharePoint and for Yammer. So I will quickly explain who we are first and what GSX Insight is before showing you how you can measure the value of your work on SharePoint and Yammer. We will then see how you can define your target and objectives and finally improve your ROI on these tools. So a quick word on GSX solution. GSX is providing with monitoring and reporting tools on collaboration environment for more than 20 years. We have now 600 customers in 40 countries, mostly large to very large companies, for which collaboration environment is key. Our multiple offices allow us to provide a follow-the-sun support from Americas to APAC. So our expertise. During 20 years, we have developed partnership and skills on a lot of topics. Of course, collaboration environment has always been our top priority. We are an IBM and Microsoft Gold partner, and we are a member of the Microsoft TAP. It allows us to test every Microsoft release before anybody. During all these years, we worked with our customer on multiple reporting and monitoring projects. That's why our technical team has a large knowledge database related to these topics. And it makes them really qualified to help you with any collaboration projects you might have. Of course, over the past few years, we focused on our product offering around Office 365, as it is a major trend in the market today. And as you can see here, we have now 4 products. End-user performance monitoring to measure the real end-user experience delivered to companies' critical locations. Usage reporting that provides automatic reports on usage, mail traffic, security, mobility, licenses, and much more. Security and audit that allows you to see in real time who is doing what, where, and how on their Office 365 environment. Enterprise management that drastically simplifies the management of Exchange end user in a cloud or hybrid environment. And finally, GSX Insight that provides Yammer and SharePoint Analytics. So let's speak about GSX Insight, as it's the topic of the webinar. So right before to enter in the demo, let's quickly explain what it is. As you may have seen, we have multiple tools on Office 365, and we also, of course, provide monitoring and reporting tools for Microsoft on-premise environments like Exchange, Skype, and SharePoint. But we faced a large number of requests asking for detailed analytics on Yammer and SharePoint. That is why we worked with our partner Trian to be able to propose you this solution that you will see today. And you can install that tool on-premise or on your virtual machine, or you can use the SaaS version. It's up to you. There's multiple ways to use Trian and GSX Insight. The same tool can analyze your SharePoint Online environment, your SharePoint on-prem environment, as well as Yammer. So one tool, and you can do all of that. And finally, you'll see that we are not only presenting data, we are computing intelligent data to provide you with direct answers to your main question. So what are you using in SharePoint and Yammer for? Basically, you can use it for internal reason, external reason, but there's always the same problem. Regardless of what SharePoint and Yammer, the way you are using it, you need to understand the value of your work and evaluate your ROI. You can use SharePoint, of course, for internal purposes like collaboration tool or to enhance productivity across multiple teams, to announce important message to your multiple departments, or the document management system, for example. Now you can use SharePoint and Yammer to communicate externally with extranet, to find new prospects, to discuss with your community, your Yammer network and groups, and you can also improve your brand, your credibility, and test different messages. But there's always the same problem, and the problem is that with SharePoint and Yammer, you have no way to understand the result of your action. It is impossible to measure the impact of your announcements, the popularity of your site, groups, discussion. It is impossible to know who is doing what and to know if your documents are used, for example. So that's what JSX Insight is for, and that's why we developed. So let's go in the first topic of today, measure the value of your work. And then we'll go to the demo I will show you. So we will deal here with some common questions that any SharePoint or Yammer administrator has. Basically, are SharePoint or Yammer used properly? Who is using what and how? Finally, do I need to target specific population for training? JSX Insight answers all these questions with clear graphs and statistics. There are some screenshots over there, but we'll go in the tool in 1 second. And for example, you will be able to see what population is engaged, what is the stickiness of this population on your tool, what is your daily or monthly active user rate. All of these different topics I will explain you directly in the tool. So let's go, and I will show you right now the tool trial. So here you are able to see the tool. So as you can see, there's different tabs, and we will go through each tab to explain you what it is. First, the topic right now is to understand what's going on your environment. Okay. So here, when you click here, the purple is for your SharePoint environment, and blue is for Yammer, and you can have SharePoint on-prem, SharePoint online, and again Yammer. What's hot is the screen that is basically a dashboard that will tell you the most important information that you need to know on your SharePoint on-prem or online environment, like your influential user, we will speak about that later, your activity, top document, top announcement, etc. So it's overall in your SharePoint environment. So right now, what we want to go is on the Member tab. Member tab. Here you can see the engagement of your population. So you can see per department, per AD field, so that really mirror your organization. Again, if your users are using SharePoint, what kind of engagement they have. So engagement means, as you can see here, you have different ways and different categories, very engaged, viewer, and inactive. Very engaged is, for example, someone that has made 10 contributions during the last 4 weeks. And you can see that by type of departments. So if I want to see, for example, only the very engaged member, then I can see that, of course, the marketing is working a lot with SharePoint, product line as well, administration, etc. But again, I can go by, for example, communication, that is a field in my AD, and then I can see how the people related to that field are engaged in my SharePoint environment. So that's something very important, basically to target a different team that might need some training on SharePoint in order to see where you should target. So if we go then on adoption, up with adoption, you have another view of not how your people are engaged, but how often do they come back? Like, what is the repartition between contributor and viewer? Are they really doing something in your environment? So here you can see, for example, of course, your overall member, your monthly active user, your daily active user, the stickiness. So I was speaking about stickiness. It's basically your recurring user. So it's very important to measure that, to know if people are really coming back on your tool and that your tool is really used. And you can see the contributor, the viewer, and of course you have some trends around that. And again, you can do that by AD field, so you're able to really know by department who is using what. So for example, per function over there, and then we can see, let's see the manager, and we can see how the manager are using SharePoint in your company. Okay? Then we can also see the user profile. meaning it depends. For different companies, it's very important that the user really fulfills their profile in order to provide information that can be found by other users. So here you will see what's going on and how it is used by your population. And finally, the activity. Activity will show you basically what's going on your SharePoint environment. And again, you can do that by function, by manager, by director, by employee. You can see what kind of announcements they do, the documents they're sharing, the pages they see, etc. So it's really something that, again, enables you to measure the activity, are the user using the tool, what kind of user, in which department, etc. And if we go on the Yammer part, it's basically the same. So you have a what's hot, you have the member that are a bit the same, so the engagement of each member by AD field or across your company. You have the user profile, so you can see same thing than for SharePoint, and you also have the activity that show you the activity per department, per function in your company. So let's come back on the presentation right now, and let's go to the second topic, define a target. Something important to manage SharePoint and Yammer is basically the identification of key people you should talk to, and also the identification of the topics that they like. And for that, JSX Insight provides priceless information. First, you can see per site or per group who are your influencer. So the question is, what is an influencer? It's not someone that mechanically posts new content on your environment. It's someone who brings value. And JSX Insight score that value. We do that by computing the number of posts, of course, but also the number of times their posts are shared, are liked, and how often they share and like other content. So you know, group per group on Yammer or side by side on SharePoint, who are the users that are really driving all the other ones. So you can identify really who are your powerful users. And after, you want to identify what are the powerful messages. So again, with JSX Insight, you can directly know the popular topic or hashtag on SharePoint, what they are related to, who is speaking about them, and it's and all of that with the interface that you have seen. So it will enable you to define strategy, like in order to know who to target, and of course to address the right person with the right message. So let's go back on the tool, and I will show you that right now. So we have seen in the what's hot, we have seen this kind of influencer. So here, it's for your overall environment, and we'll see in Yammer it's a bit the same. But if we go now by site, and we will come back on the site right after. But I go by sites, for example, I take that site collection, and I take a specific site, Project Automotive, for example. And then for that specific site, and we will come back here, but I can know who are my most influential users. You know, and it's core. So I know, and I have different periods of time, so I know exactly who is driving content, but not only who is driving really this website, who are posting in it, who are sharing content and all of that. So I can really target these people if I want to talk to them. And of course, I will see as well, we'll see the top document that we will see again after. We can see the top posts on this website, and we can see the most discussed hashtag or topics. So side by side, you can know exactly who is driving the activity and what kind of topic is also driving the activity. I have also a tab for hashtag where you can see really all the different topics that are discussed in your environment, and you can see all these different hashtags. And if I click on one, then I will be able to have a report on that specific topic with all the related hashtags of that topic and the related sites, and of course the people that are using, that are discussing about that topic. So it's again a very powerful way to understand who you should talk to and about what. And it's even more important when you are in Yammer and you are with groups and you want to discuss with the groups that can be external group or even internal group. So if I go on group, for example, I will have same thing. I take a group or company, for example, and then I can see directly in that group, that can be, again, an external or internal group, who are my most influential users, also document, and we'll see that, and the different, the thread here, so the most important one, and the discussed topic. And same thing, I will have some information generally about the topic in Yammer, and I can click on one topic in Yammer all across all the groups I have, and I can see the related topic, the groups, and who are discussing about that. So that's very important. It's very important on SharePoint. It's even more important on Yammer, and that's something that we're the only one that allow you to show, to see that kind of information. So let's go back on the presentation, and let's go on the third topic. Extensive SharePoint sites and group reports. So we have seen some of them right now, but we will go a bit deeper now in that. We've seen that you can easily measure how is used your environment and who is using it. We've seen how to detect the influencer and what they are speaking about. Now let's see all the information you can see, you can have on about the SharePoint site or about the Yammer group. JSX Insights allow you to configure automatic reports for each group or site manager in order for them to have extensive information that enables them to manage their communication. So you can really like have a report that is sent every day to the site manager or to the group manager, and with all the information about what's going on, the influencer, the number of hits, and all of that. With these reports, they have one single page where they can measure the activity of each site, of each group, the number of hits, the visitor, the contributor, etc. So we'll see that again in 2 seconds. It's a very good way to detect active sites and inactive sites at a glance, and I will show you. And you can see the result of your announcement in SharePoint, and in Yammer, you can see how your documents are used and by who. And of course, you can see the top page and discussion. About announcements, for example, we have a lot of customers that are buying JSX Insights just to have the announcement metrics, because it's something that is really key, for example, on Yammer, when you do announcements on external group. You want to know if these announcements are read and by who, because you want to target these people, and you want to make sure that the message that you are communicating are working well. And it's a bit the same thing in SharePoint. If you use SharePoint extensively in your company, or even as an extranet, you want to know when you do announcements if they are read and by who, again, for you to understand who to target and how to communicate with them. So we will see that in 1 second, and so let's go directly in the tool right now. So up. So let's go back on the site. So site here, first, it's a general report on all your sites, so all your site collections. So you have general metrics on all of that. So the number of hits, number of total sites, again, the activity, the unique visitor, all the active sites, the topics, etc. So then you can have reports per site collection. So I click on one site collection, and I have all the statistics for that particular site collection, number of blog, community, project, team site, etc. The active topic, the most inactive sites, and of course, all the documents. So top document, top announcement, you have that at the site collection level and at the site level. Top document is very important, especially for SharePoint. You want to know if your documents are used. You want to know who view them. So, for example, here on that site collection, that document has been viewed 3 times, and I can see the viewer. So I can see exactly who is viewing the document that I share on a specific site or on a specific site collection. So it's very important. It's one of the, let's say, best features for SharePoint. Top announcement, same thing. You do announcement on SharePoint. You want to see who viewed that, and you have the name. You know exactly if it has been read or not, and by who. So that's very important. Top discussion, top pages. So if I go on one particular site, so let's say, for example, team books, and then I will have the same kind of statistics for that particular site. So the number of hits, so I can know if the site is popular or not, the visitor, the contributor, I can see the activity, my influential user on that site, the page activity, the top page, and of course, as usual, the top document. So any document shared on that site, are they used or not used, and by who, and you can have all this information here, and the top post and the top topic. That's very important here. If we go on Yammer, it will be the same. So we go on groups. So you have all your groups with all the activity, all the different topic and the public document, and as well the announcement for all your groups. So again, you can see the viewer if they have liked or comment any of your announcements. So that's a very important statistics for you to, again, drive the way you communicate with the user, external or internal. And then I take, for example, that group, new employee. It can be, well, this one will be obviously an internal group, but let's say innovation community, that can be an external group. And then I see my member, I see the connected user, and again, I see my influential user, very important, especially if it's an external group. I see the top document. So, for example, I post white paper on that particular group on Yammer, and I want to see if the white paper is used. I want to see if people download it, if people view it. Here, you are able to see that. So that's very important, again, to monitor the activity that you're doing on Yammer. And the announcement, of course, very important. We already spoke about that. That's really a killing feature of JSX Insight. You are able to see if your announcement, the message, your communication is working or not. And that's the only way you have to see that, because there's no other tool that allow you to see that. So let's go back in the presentation and see the next topic. So, up. We have seen that. Bonus for Yammer, define your objective. That's a bonus feature that we have added for Yammer customer, only for them that are using our SaaS offering and that are willing to share anonymous data. You can compare yourself, your activity, your engagement, your group popularity against other companies of your industry. Of course, if you are on SharePoint on-prem, that's something that is not possible. So you can, with that, you can see if you do better than the other or not, and you can define your objective, you can to improve your message or to stay at the top maybe. This feature again is for Yammer only, and I will go quickly in it. Here, up, benchmark, up, and I have my benchmark, and I can see against the same size company or against the same industry. Let's see, service and software. And then I can see really if I am above average, for example, I am above average in engagement, I have still some progress to do on my activity in my groups. I can see that here I have also some progress to do with this activity and on the document. So I can really, it's really something that enables me to set up objective because, of course, I always want to be above average because I always want to be above my competitors when I'm communicating on Yammer, on external group and all of that. And again, that's really something that is key here and that you won't find anywhere else. So let's come back on the presentation. So improve SharePoint Yammer ROI. So it's basically the purpose of the tool. We have seen who is using SharePoint and Yammer and how. We have seen like who are your influential users, and we have seen the adoption and how you can measure the adoption of your internal or external user. We have seen how you can measure the impact of your message. And for that, like for everything, you need to, if you want to improve your ROI on SharePoint or on Yammer, you need to test, you need to measure, you need to adapt, you need to test again, and you need to see if the results are better or not. So if you don't have any way to measure the impact on of your action, then you can never improve your action, and then you can never improve the ROI of SharePoint or of Yammer. So we have seen that with SharePoint Online or SharePoint On-Prem or Yammer, at the moment, if you don't have JSX Insight, you have no way to see the result of your announcement. You have no way to see if your documents are used, and by who, when. You have no way to see if your white paper are a success or not. So really, it's what JSX is Insight for. It's really the measuring the result of your action, provide you with critical information in order for you to be able to improve your action and your ROI. So if I have to sum up really quickly the benefit of JSX Insight for your company, so we can say that it allows you first to measure the value of your work, identify your strengths, your weakness in how your company and teams are using SharePoint and Yammer. You can assess your impact on your community and understand the usage of your tool. Secondly, you can identify your target. Who are the influencers? What topics are popular? And then you can easily address these influencers and the most popular topic, again, in order to maximize your impact on SharePoint, SharePoint Online, and Yammer. If you're a Yammer user, we've seen that, of course, you can set up some objectives and compare your performance within your industry. And of course, the main goal of JSX Insight is for you to improve your ROI, the way documents are used within your SharePoint group, within your SharePoint site project, to be able to measure the result of your announcement, the engagement of your community, and the activity of your user, again, on your SharePoint site and your Yammer group. So it's very easy to try the solution because you can try that for 2 weeks. Whether you have a SharePoint Online, SharePoint On-Prem, or Yammer, or whether you want to use our SaaS offering or install the tool on-prem, it's really easy. You just have to fulfill the form at the end of the webinar, and you will be guided to it. Extremely easy to set up. So I guess we have finished the webinar, and now we can go through the Q&A session.
Wow, Jess, that was very insightful. Thank you. So we have received a few pretty great questions. Let me get started with the first one. So first question for you is this tool cloud-based?
So again, it's yes, but it can be deployed on-prem if you want. So you can use the SaaS option, or you can install the tool on-premise if you want to have your data on-premise. No problem for that.
Great. Second question is, how do you ensure security of the data in your application?
So if the tool is on-prem, I mean, the question is easy because basically the data is stored, encrypted, and it's in your environment. When you use the SaaS, then with the information is stored using AES, each client has its own dedicated database, and we are currently validating the SOC 2 security certification that is the hardest one to get. So it's, I mean, obviously when you do that kind of job, like security is your priority. And so we can provide you with all the different security certification that we have. But SOC 2 will be a good.
All right. Next is, how do you retrieve the traffic information on the actual SharePoint pages?
That's a very good question as well. So basically, JavaScript code is injected in the page through a WSP, and we use the REST APIs for SharePoint Online and for Yammer as well.
Great. Also, how are we logging into the application? Is single sign-on SSO available?
So single sign-on for SharePoint Online and Yammer is available, no problem for that. And of course, for SharePoint On-Prem, then it will be a built-in account.
All right. Next up, we have, what metadata does this dashboard really depend on?
Okay, so metadata dashboard can use a department, function, and basically any Azure AD attributes. So therefore, AD attributes that are synced. And that's how you can really mirror your AD organization and import that into JSX Insight. And that's how you can have all these statistics per department, per function, in order, again, to know what is the engagement by type of population or by department, for you to be able to target your effort if you want to do training or these kind of things. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. So that's what we have for you for today. The rest of the questions, what we're going to do is we'll make sure to email you or call you and have those answered as soon as possible. Thanks again for attending today's webinar on GSX 365 Insights, powered by Triumph.